Hello everybody, this is Pete from PA Labs, and I'm doing a video today largely because I um, lost track of time yesterday and was unable to get a video out in the before the day ended. And the reason I'm not putting a video out today was because I had surgery on my hand, broke a couple bones in my hand, and I got them fixed today. So I'm a little bit loopy tortillaed on some drugs at the moment. And so I have got this working and finished the code that I was working on. It's not rocket science. I built the game player. The game player doesn't do phenomenal amounts of information. He loads in a bunch of stuff. He launches the game player or the host screen, depending on which one you want. And if you hit continue and connect and all of that, then he comes down here and launches the game player. And I did a mock-up, very light mock-up right now of the map itself. If I jump over here to forms. So right now this is the game mock-up of the player screen. And I had to build the game server to a point that we can load the game server and have it boot based on the file that's saved in the directory and bring up everything and be able to send a data file or game file back to the client or back to the game player. All right, now got that operational. I had to build the host and the join screens and build out all of their code and how things are working. And then last but not least, since all of this precipitates off of this, I had to debug my designer export. And it seems I had a single line that was screwed up, and it cost me 2.5 hours to find the one line of code that was bad in the entire export process of all the classes, believe it or not. It was, and I'm going to just take this all the way out. It was, oh goodness, my brain's not working real well. I believe it was game era, and I had string, write string instead of write string n. Write string n says add a line feed carriage return. So it took forever to find because that jumbles up the order. So having a jumbled up order, of course, everything would work up to a point, and I had to find the point. Anyhow, long story short, I found it, fixed it, and life's doing good. So now I can export files. He builds this structure. If we go to My Documents or Documents and go to Wargame Studio, eventually we'll have log files. We do not today, but we will. We have new games and we have saved games. Now, the new game and saved game file names are probably not what you're anticipating. Normally, you would presume that your game name would be the name of the file, but it's really not. It's game name, and then we have the game era of the game, and then we have my little versioning of how many times this has been exported, and then your current game turn. And then WGX identifies that this is a zip file. and that's really just identifying it to my code. I've gone ahead and unzipped this. Linux is smart enough to know that's a zip, so I can right click it and unzip it. And he puts it into its own folder. And this is the actual export file, which is a binary file of every single field in the entire exported game. Okay, all the images, all the clob fields, all the binary, the blob fields, strings, integers, the whole 9 yards. Everything is here. It takes a whopping, goodness, second and a half to execute. So not a long process, or it's pretty much rocket science. Got rid of all this additional stuff I was going to export and decided that that's superfluous. It's unnecessary. So without further ado, let's go ahead and launch the game player. Now, the game player launches. However, you don't get to see the game player because you have to host a game or join a game. And ideally, hold on, let's go ahead and kill out of here. Ideally, what you would actually do, and I think this might work. Let's see. Why did I do that? Let's come over here. If we come over here to launcher, there we go. Launcher, you're going to hit game player and you can host or join. Now, all this entire app does is go call, in this instance, he's going to call the game player code and pass a parameter that says, hey, launch host and launch game. Now, that, oh my goodness, fancy parameter, ooh, top secret, hidden, is nothing more than a command line switch. So if you've ever used command lines, if you're in Linux, you use them every day of your life. So I will show you what we're using. Let's see. We come up here. It expects a -- host or a -- join, all uppercase. Wow, that's brilliance, isn't it? So if you run it without anything, he's going to come back and say, sorry, I expected a -- host or -- join parameter. So then you can change your, command line and launch it from the command line. And that's really all it amounts to. It's nothing rocket science. So based on that, he launches this code, or he launches the host code, host or join. And when I run it out of the compiler here, I've got that code built in over here as a executable command line host, -- host. So that is why it comes up with host right off the bat. So you can, in the compiler settings, go set it up to do what you want it to do. So, and yes, that is to say I have not tested join at all. Not till I get the actual game to come up and start to be functioning will I actually back up and attack the join. All right, so now I'm going to minimize everything so you'll see my desktop here. Would you minimize, please? Thank you. We'll get rid of this, and I do have a couple pop-up messages, and I have a debug. So you'll get a list of all the game eras that he found games for the new games. And then it'll select the first one and then list the games of that era. So if I had a Civil War game, it would have Civil War and World War II, and if I click either one, it'll show the one game. Now, if you want to see saved games, that'll click the save button, and he didn't find really anything, and I think this is just residual. I didn't clean it out because there wasn't anything to load it with. And if you click the new game, which is what I'm doing from code, is just clicking the new game. So when you select a game, it then fills the rest of the form out here. And you can choose your side if you want to play Germany or the Allies. It sets the player types down here. If you want to play against the Allies, then you select him and say set computer, and now this is human versus computer game, or we can set him back to human, and now it's a PvP game. Okay, so that's how that works. You can choose to have Fog of War. Fog of War will give you outlines of units, but it will not tell you what the unit is unless it is in your zone of control. So it's kind of more of a mystery as to what it is that's happening. So all of that is all functioning. So let's go ahead and without further ado, a launch. And it launched our server, and we have we're successfully connecting to it. I have too much delay worked into this right now because one of the earlier problems was that it wasn't connecting properly. So, and here's our little mock-up screen of our war game, and I just grabbed one of the many images that is in the game map and displayed it on the screen, and that's just the terrain that we have in the game itself. No cities, none of all of that's on top of this. So I wanted to test out how this was looking, and I think that's fugly, freaking ugly. So that'll be that. I do have a little minimize button which will collapse the left panel, and I have the same button here which is going to expand, so it really needs to be the one that points to the right. And this will actually be in a split gadget, so that'll be 2 panels, and I don't think this is going to be a movable animal here, but I believe it'll be the one that you can actually grab the slider bar on this side and move it up and down to scroll. I'll also activate all of the standard mouse wheel stuff. Currently, obviously, none of that is operational. This is just to show you that we've connected to the server, and not only have we connected to the server turned around, and the message that I minimized, I think I did, but it'll still close it no matter what on me. Let's come back over here and debugger output. Now, what this guy is telling me is we received a file from the server in the amount of, what is that? 1,228,000 bytes, okay? Which, interestingly, is 3.8 megabytes. That is the unzipped size of our game file that was extracted from the software, from the system. So what has happened? We've launched the server. The server was handed the game file of the game we selected and want to play. The server came up and brought up his TCP screens. Not that there are screens, it's all hidden. And then the software continued with a few pauses to connect to the server. And then after he connected to the server, he said, "Hey server, give me the game file." And so the server passed the game file via TCP/IP to the client. So the client is not sitting on the game and the database that we built. It's getting the copy from the server, and then he's installing it to a temp area. He's putting it in a temporary area, a temp folder in the temp folder, and then he is actually loading it from the temp folder into memory. Okay? So that is the scoop of what's happened, okay, in that way too long, I don't know, 5-second delay between when we said connect or launch and this screen popped up. All right. And again, I have some bunch of delays worked in there because I thought it was a timing thing that was my problem earlier. Turned out it was not, but that's okay. It was a zipping thing, and so I'm here to show you that you know what this thing is. We have a game player. Now it's just a matter of getting the game player to load up with the grid, with the cities, with all of that. But I got all the collections, I got all the data, I got all the images, I've got everything I need. All I need to do is just make it happen. So that is today's video. We now have the beginnings of a server. It has lots of work to do. We have the host and join screens, and we have the game player started. There will be several thousand lines of game player code easily, plus combat, plus AI, plus all kind of stuff. Server's got a whole bunch of code to write, and then host and join is all ready to go. So I'll be tying in sounds and music, and then I'm going to have to do settings so you can change the volume on your settings to where you can have it as loud or as quiet or non-existent if you want it. And so I just wanted to show the game has progressed massively in the last day and a half or so, and that's this whole video. As always, folks, thanks for watching.